What's up, guys? UFC Baku was last night. I'm here to break that down. But first, I have an announcement yet again. My Tapology group is holding a competition. I hold this weekly. So if you go to the Hallman, we're going to have a day. Follow this link. I will put it in the page below, or in the description below. There we go. This is how the competition works. You enter your picks, and whoever ends up winning, I will send them personally the US dollar amount equal to the amount of subscribers I have on YouTube. You just have to put your information for that in the thread area of the group. So, you go here, and then I have the payment plan, or not plan, payment you option in here. So if you have Cash App, just tell me your Cash App information when you win. I'll put personal messages in here. I won this week, so I'm not putting one out this week. But yeah, you have a chance to win like a couple extra bucks. Hey, it's something nice as for, being a subscriber of the channel, or just somebody who wants to participate in the fight picks in general. You don't have to be a subscriber to participate. You can just join. I will let anyone join. I don't mind. Anyways, let's get into the breakdown of the entire UFC Baku card. It was a not great card overall, and there were a couple good fights, but it's how UFC cards have been lately. I almost fell asleep again during this last night. These cards have not been great lately. This should have been on the UFC Atlanta card, and we should have had a better card overall at UFC Baku as well. Anyways, we will start with the early prelims. Or I guess we can, start with the main event, end with the prelims. I guess we can do it in the opposite. We can do it in reverse order. Khalil Roundtree got dominated. Or not Khalil Roundtree. I did this during my prediction video. Jamal Hill got dominated. He didn't just get, what? He got shown levels. I got dominated. He got absolutely dominated by Khalil Roundtree, and the leg kicks were the biggest problem. That and Jamal Hill's hood footwork. It doesn't work. It's not good enough. I had a suspicion that Khalil Roundtree's footwork and kicks might be too good, but it's not something that he uses every time during fights, so I just didn't anticipate Khalil Roundtree actually, going through with it and being a decent fighter for this fight. But he did, and maybe it's just time to reevaluate Jamal Hill and how potentially not good he is. He does land solid shots in between, boxing combinations, but yeah, he's not that guy. Not right now, at least. He needs some serious development. But Khalil Roundtree looked great. I think you book him against a guy like Carlos Olberg, Yuri Prochazka, something like that. Maybe even Alexander Rakic. That would be a really good fight, but Rakic is coming off losses instead. But I could see that being a great fight. Two of the most technical light heavyweights, I guess. We'll move down to Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes. This is exactly kind of how I thought this would go. I was worried that Bahamondes might actually be a really, really good fighter. He is a good fighter, but he just isn't quite at the level of a Fiziev yet. Rafael Fiziev is a talented striker, and I think people forgot that coming into this fight, that this dude was competing with guys like Gaethje, and was neck and neck with them, not just he fought Gaethje. No, he almost beat Gaethje both times he fought him. It was a very, very close fight both times. And Gaethje is obviously one of the highest level fighters there is right now in the lightweight division. Full skill set, maybe not fully taken into account, because his ground game's dog shit. But Rafael Fiziev looked really good. He got the takedowns when he needed to. His striking was great, as always. Bahamondes, you've got to set up your kicks better. You can't just sit there and throw spinning wheel kicks at range at a guy like Viziev. He's not gonna fall for something like that when it comes to just trying to hit him out of nowhere with it. You have to set it up. Throw a left hook in front of it. Do like Mauricio Hoofy. Throw that straight, fake the left hook, and throw your spinning wheel kick behind that. It would work. I mean, maybe not against somebody like Viziev, but it might have landed. You had a much higher chance than just when you just throw it out there randomly. It was a great fight. It was one of the two-ish good fights on this. Like, there were only a few good fights on this card. And it's sad to say, man, these guys just won't keep up the pace. They don't fight. They don't come to fight anymore like they used to. Anyways, Curtis Blades versus Rizvan Kuniev. This was the feature fight of the night. I thought Curtis Blades won rounds 1 and 3, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Unanimous decision. I thought Blades could have got him out of there pre-fight, but now seeing the fight, it was obvious Kuniev was an actual problem for him. He did look like he may be not on the sauce and shapes of or in terms of how his body looked, but in terms of him staying relatively active while later into the fight. I don't know. I don't trust this guy. He looked alright. Give him another fight, maybe against just some other random blob in the heavyweight division. We'll see if he tests positive or not as well. I doubt he will, since the new drug testing policies have kicked in. We really haven't had any drug fail suspensions that are higher level names. We move to Miktabek Oralbai versus Tafik Musayev. Miktabek getting it done. Round 1 by submission. This is exactly what we predicted. We thought he was going to go in here and use his grappling effectively. He did miss weight by 10 pounds. Hey, don't agree to fight at 165 if you're not ready for him to miss weight. Or to have missed weight. Just say no. It's that simple. And Tafik Musayev, he had some solid looks early, but it was way too quick of a fight for it to have really mattered. So I'd like to see him in there again, but I wouldn't even know who to start to match him up against right now. One of the other few good fights on the card, Nazim Sadikov versus Nicholas Mota. Nicholas Mota threw a 70-punch combination at one point in the first round. It was such a great moment, at least, for the fight. We had just a bunch of combinations being swung. He was just swinging hooks like crazy, just digging down. It even hurt It even hurt Nazim Sadikov a couple times. You saw him go crunch down and kind of almost take a knee, and the ref kept stepping in, kept getting closer and closer, and you really didn't want him to step in because we had picked him. We had picked Sadikov, and we knew he was hurt, but the couple steps he kept taking in, you kept getting real worried when that ref would get close. But Sadikov ends up throwing back after that so that the referee will back off, and then later on gets a break after gets a break through the second round, starts landing some good heavy shots, keeps Mota off of him for a little bit. Maybe Mota gasses a little bit as well. Mota's a dog, man. I hope he doesn't get cut ever. He always comes to fight. He brings it. He's tough, but he may wilt. He's tough for a little bit and then he wilts. But Sadikov just sleeps him with a hook, if I'm not mistaken, mid-combination. And it was vicious. It was absolutely vicious. I could see Nazim Sadikov moving up top 20. Like, I mean, he might already be top 20, but, you know, I could see him getting like a number 15 ranked guy now at lightweight. I could see that. If he doesn't give him a real hype prospect, like give him a high prospect, like maybe a Rebecki, something like that, or Runbetsky, whatever his name is. Give him that after, you know, after Runbetsky's next fight, and I think that'd be a fantastic fight, honestly. Moving on to Muhammad Naimov versus Bogdan Grad. This fight kind of went exactly how we thought it would. Naimov just kind of poked and prodded at range, was the little bit more technical fighter. Bogdan Grad was just bullying forward with his pea head. I'm not sure how he has the chin that he has with the little head that he has, but he will get knocked out. He's going to get his head spun. I don't know. He's a tough fighter, though, honestly. I like his style. If he had been fighting someone other than a guy like Muhammad Naimov, it would have been fun. Seok Gung Ko defeating Oban Elliott. This was one I did not expect. Although Oban has only beaten low-tier fighters in the UFC, like he has beaten only people he should have beaten. And now he's lost to Seok Gung Ko. I don't know where you go with Oban from here. But Seok Gung Ko looked really good. Threw some power, threw some nasty heat. Went to decision. He had good grappling too. Like he kept hitting Oban with some tosses that were really, really frustrating him. You could tell it just like he had not prepared for this kind of thing. And Seok Gung Ko dominates the whole entire fight pretty much. I don't know what kind of step up you can give him. Either one of the guys really. I'll just move on to the next fight. We've got Jun Young Park versus Ismail Nurdiev. We had Park winning. Ismail cheated several times throughout the fight. He threw an illegal knee. It got 2 points taken away from him in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. It was either first or second. And then Jun Young Park turned it on after that. Well, once those points were taken away, he knew it was his time to Iron Turtle it up. The turtle versus the hare, and he had already been up 2 points. Like, they gave the turtle a head start on the hare. Brother, it was too good. Iron Turtle winning easily. Give him Drickus next, honestly. We move to the two women's fights of the night. Where the coin fell us. You know, it's just one of those things. Melissa Mullins had defeated Daria Zelezniakova on the regional circuit by TKO. The coin picked her, so I picked by TKO. And it ended up looking like Melissa Mullins had never fought in her life and had never had a win in her life. Daria Zelezniakova, who looked terrible in her last fight, absolutely dominated her at points. It was very disheartening as someone who's forced to pick her. But, you know, it is what it is. At least the fight got over with. Same with this one. Claudia Segula versus Arina Alexeva. We picked Alexeva with the coin, and thought her submission game might come into use, and her more boyish charm, if you will. Thought that would all work, since this is MMA, not, you know, not women's basketball. I don't know. But Claudia Segula, the pretty girl, actually won, and she was pretty during the fight. It was kind of surprising, you know. It's one of those things that they hit you with, and you're like, whoa, where'd this girl come from? But then you find out she's Polish, and most of the Polish women have been kind of cute in the UFC. She had solid striking. Her entire game looked a lot better than the last time when she had fought. I don't know where that came from. Don't know where the improvements came from so quickly, but you know, I'm here for it. Don't know who to give her. Don't care. It's a women's MMA fight, especially at, what, bantamweight? Yeah, I just do not care about that. Moving to Tagir Ulanbekov versus Azat Maksum. We picked Tagir Ulanbekov. Thought he would win in the kind of mediocre way he did, to be honest. Didn't think he would dominate the fight. Just thought he was going to be a little bit better than Maxim. Maxim actually was the one pushing the pace a lot of the time, and but Tagir was just landing too good of strikes at range. He just was doing just enough to beat Azat. I think if you give him that real step up, Tagir's next opponent is going to beat him. Had he been fighting a guy like Horiguchi in this fight, it would have been bad news for him. If he fights a guy like Pantoja, it will be bad news, unless Pantoja is just too old at this point. Give Tagir his Kyogi Horiguchi fight yet again, and let him prove that he can beat a guy like that before giving him that next step. And Tagir's old, or not Tagir, Horiguchi's old as well, so it's not like this is not like similar kind of matchup to what he'd be getting in Pantoja, although, I mean, skill sets are different. Moving to the first fight of the evening, and how great it was. What a barn burner it was between two blob individuals. Mo Usman ends up winning. They did not rob him like we called. Literally only picked Hamdi due to the robbery. I knew this fight would go to decision because it's two blob heavyweights, and I thought the Azerbaijan judges would just give it to Hamdi no matter what, so that's on me. I didn't think that Mo Usman would actually be given a decision in Azerbaijan, but the Azerbaijan judges seem to be doing pretty well. They seem to be some of the most educated judges, unfortunately, for us. But that ends the recap. We didn't do great, but we didn't do terrible. We got 7 out of 12 fight picks right. So, sadly, just a little better than the coin flip. But the coin kind of, the coin itself fucked us up here. So had we just not had women's MMA, we go 7 for 10 on picks. And men's MMA. Real MMA, if you will. Yeah. Join my Tapology group. You could have beaten me to earn money this past week. See, the Hallman Week and a Half a Day. I'll go to previous event. This is UFC Baku. That was UFC 317. Sorry. This is UFC Baku. I won our group, sadly, and it was only with 7 picks right. You could have easily been the guy to win. I think it's now $11. I think I have 11 subscribers. You could have won that $11. This could be you, but now it just stays in my pocket, and, yeah. Anyways, we're going to break down the UFC 317 card. I'm not going to put in picks yet, just because I leave that for Wednesdays. But, man, this card's pretty solid. I can't wait to see it, but, obviously for a pay-per-view, could be better. We've got Nico Price versus Jacoby Smith. This is going to be an awesome fight. I think Jacoby Smith's going to come with some real pressure and try to knock out Nico Price. I think that will probably happen as like a quick breakdown. Janata Denise versus Alvin Hines. Crazy. I don't watch regional MMA that often, but I had been watching regional MMA while this was happening. And I actually saw this happen live, which was really cool. This Alvin Hines guy, he was fighting another fat guy because it's heavyweight, but puts up a beautiful head kick to get signed to the UFC. He literally threw the Leon Edwards on Kamaru Usman head kick. So, he throws his straight right, and then puts a head kick behind it. As a heavyweight, you have to be somewhat impressed by it. But he's fighting Janata Denise, who is a kickboxer, and I think he's going to have a lot of trouble. It is his debut in the UFC, but he's a big man, so he could just knock out Denise. Who knows? Speaking of stupid fighters, we've got Cedricus Dumas back again somehow. This man has been arrested for the 15th time or some shit recently, and the UFC has decided we're gonna throw this man back in a fight. I mean, I guess he has been. What, he's 2-3 out of his last 5, and he's fighting a dude who's debuting. They just signed Jackson McVeigh. Not sure how that fight's gonna go. This is a dude from LFA. I'm sure Cedricus may be able to beat him, but who knows at this point in his career. Terrence McKinney versus Vyacheslav Borisov. Great fight. Probably a first round finish incoming, you know. Probably seems like one of those that'll end pretty quick. Viviane Araujo versus Tracy Cortez. That'll be a good match to look at. We've got Hyder Emil versus Jose Delgado. Fucking banger. Absolutely fucking banger. This is a great fight. Wow, Delgado's the favorite. That's kind of crazy. Delgado's the favorite, and Hyder Emil has beaten dudes like William Gomes. I guess he is 35 years old, but I mean that just means it's time for Hyder Emil to get going. You know, he needs to really get after this shit. But you know, I could actually see him losing. But yeah, dude. Speaking of Hyder Emil, Nicholas Mota threw a combination that made this man blush. I loved it. I was so happy watching that fight this weekend. Jack Hermanson versus Gregory Rodriguez. I feel like that just like apparated onto this card because I do not remember it being signed for this card. Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. This is going to be the ascension of Felipe Lima, I think. This is where people start paying attention to him, is once he beats Peyton Talbot. I do think this will be a masterclass by Felipe Lima. I think he's a really good fighter. Maybe undersized for the weight class, though. Maybe. Hinata Moicano versus Benil Dariush. We're getting it a little late, but hey, better late than never, I guess. Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. I sadly think this is where at least this part of Joshua Van's run comes to an end. We're on a little bit of a tear, but I think sadly Brandon Royval's just got the big frame and finish ability to catch Josh Van coming up the middle a lot. Pantoja versus Kai Kara France 2. First one was on The Ultimate Fighter, if I'm not mistaken. I really don't remember. And now it's for the title. Kai Kara France hasn't fought in almost a year, and literally only broke a 2-fight losing streak in order to get a title shot. Only got 1 win on a 2-fight losing streak to get a title shot, but you know, that's flyweight. It's extremely weak. I'll be picking Pantoja for this probably. Then we've got Ilia Toptoro versus the Charles Oliveira. Man, it's a tough fight to call. Charles with his teeps and knees up the middle, his straight attacks. He's very technical, very good, but he's so hittable. I feel like if you're picking Charles, you're picking him to catch Ilia, and if you're picking Ilia, you know he's going to clip Charles. It's just one of those things, man. I think that Ilia wins this fight pretty easily. Not easily in the sense of like he doesn't get touched, but like I just think that he's going to be one of these guys who... Charles is getting older, too. Charles is 35 now. Ilia's 28. I think it's about that time. And don't be surprised if Charles retires. Charles is one of my favorite fighters ever. I love watching him fight. He's been such a warrior. Legitimately, to see who he was and who he's become over the years, it's amazing to watch. But Ilia is just this new breed. He is very small. I will say that. He's a very, very small lightweight. And I can see him getting caught up the middle by knees, teeps, jabs, straights. I think that's going to be a big problem for him, but I know he practices coming over jabs pretty often with that overhand or you know, he literally likes to throw his straight right over the top just like this, just over the jab. So when his opponent jabs, he brings it over the top So their forearm will be coming, and he brings it over the top to KO them. Like, it's beautiful. I love watching his boxing. Ilya's outstanding. So is Charles, though. It's a hard fight to call. The odds should not be 80-20. I can say that. It should be more like 65-35 for Ilya, maybe. Anyways, that's the breakdown of... That's the recap of UFC Baku, breakdown of UFC 313, or 317. Jesus, I'm going back in time. Also, Jon Jone's retired. Tom Aspinall's the undisputed champion now. And we'll, I guess, be getting fight news sometime soon, hopefully, for Tom Aspinall. Anyways, tune in Wednesday for my fight predictions. You kind of got them a little bit there. Also, like I said, please join my Tapology group. You can make money off of me just by putting in fight picks. I don't make money off of it. I'm just trying to do it to get subscribers on YouTube, sadly. But yeah, anyways, hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you for UFC 317 this weekend. We may even do a fight companion, depending on how it goes. Or depending on if I can get everything set up beforehand. Anyways, have a great day, guys. Bye.